I have a question for you. Do you believe your best days are in the rearview mirror behind you, or do you think that your best is yet to come? So I posted on social media recently that I started Invisalign treatment, which is super exciting, right? Well, a well-intentioned person said to me, why would you want to start Invisalign at your quote advanced age? And I know this person well. I know they were just kidding, but still it brings to mind this narrative that a lot of us have that, you know, we're supposed to give up on ourselves once we reach a certain age, or we're not supposed to pursue the things that make us feel good. And I just want to challenge this mindset today and do a deeper dive into this, because I think that most of us have these well-intentioned people in our lives. And if you can't think of one off the top of your head, then I'm going to give you a few examples from my own life, and maybe this will ring a bell. All right, so are you ready? Let's start in high school. Back in high school, my graduation day, a very well-intentioned family member said to me, gosh, your best chapter's behind you now. That was the most fun I ever had in my life. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I hope she's wrong, because I hated high school. It was not the best days of my life, and I did not want to stay in that chapter. And then I got to college and I had a great time, which proved that high school was not the best days of my life. But whenever I graduated from college and I went into the workforce for the first time, I got welcomed to corporate America by the Sarcasm Committee. You know them. Those are the people who said to me, boy, I hope you enjoyed those long college breaks and parties, because all of that's over. And as I'm sitting there in my beige cubicle thinking, is this all I have to look forward to? I had to wonder, I couldn't help but question it, were my best days behind me? Then I got pregnant and I started having babies, and other moms would say to me, I hope you have a lot of bikini pictures from before you had babies, because things are going to stretch and sag and they will never be the same again. Thank you. You were right. But let's move on. Then there were the other moms who came along when I had, toddlers and infants, and babies spit up on me and I wasn't sleeping and life felt chaotic and out of control. And, they would say to me, oh my gosh, these are the best times. You need to cherish these times. It goes way too fast, which they were right. It did go really, really fast. But when I was there in the midst of that struggle, it was hard for me to see that this could be the best chapter. Then fast forward to now, where I'm getting close to having an empty nest. And I have older moms coming to me and saying, enjoy these last, years when you have kids and sports and all the things going on, because again, this is all going to be over. And then you're going to get to this point in life. And I felt like motherhood was the most fulfilling thing for me, and I feel lost now. And the overriding theme here is it all goes downhill from here, right? We've heard it over and over and over again. And I want you to know this, that while those might be the experiences of each and every single one of those well-intentioned people, they are not necessarily your experience. And if you challenge this limited belief or this mindset, then you can move past this. And that's what we're going to dive into. So let's first talk about the all goes downhill from here theme. I mean, why look forward to getting older, right? We've been duly warned it's all just gonna suck. So think about it. What's the last birthday you looked forward to? I looked forward to 21, but I think that's it. Thank you, Lord, that I'm alive and healthy and well, and I appreciate having birthdays every single year, but I haven't really looked forward to one in quite some time, and I'm sure that you can relate to that. So it's no wonder that we dread getting older, because again, we've been warned it's gonna suck. And I'll admit, there are days when I look in the mirror and I wonder, are my best days behind me? Was that time in my life better? I look at old pictures and I see things, or I think about when my kids were younger, or when I had less wrinkles, or when my stomach was flatter, or all the things. And then I have to snap myself back into reality and say, no, you know what? I'm happier now, I'm more confident now, and I know myself better now. So for those three reasons, I am better equipped to live the life that I want to have going forward, not the past, right? So it's all about just changing that perspective. And yes, you can have sweet memories from those times in your life and appreciate all that's come before you, but that doesn't mean that that is the best you will ever have. So the thing is, every single one of those well-intentioned people had one thing in common, and that is that they were wrong. They may have been right about their own particular circumstances or situations or their perception on life. And yes, I'm 48 years old, so I haven't exactly been through every single phase of life, but I've been through enough to know that it doesn't necessarily have to mean when you close one chapter and move into the next one that the best one is over. So really, that's what I want to challenge you with today. I do know this, that their words did serve as important warnings, and that was to make sure that my best wasn't behind me. I knew that I did not want high school or college or even young motherhood or whatever to define me or be the pinnacle of my existence. So I refused to believe my happiest days had anything to do with any of that. Because honestly, when I look back on those times in my life, yes, I do have great memories, but I also realized that I was struggling a lot back then. And, you know, the things that I've done through the years, like going to therapy and really just challenging my limiting beliefs and my mindset and changing that and working on personal development has been the key to making each and every chapter better than the one before that. And the funny thing is, I'm writing a book right now on all of this. And that's what started this, because my opening chapter in my book, actually my intro in my book, I talk about these stories and how well-intentioned people have said this to me and how I'm sure that most of you have experienced too. It just never made sense to me how you could know that your best chapter's behind you while you're still writing the book. Any good author knows that you're in control of the chapters that come after this one, right? When you're in control, and we have control over a lot more than we think we do. So I think that that's really empowering for us to realize too, is that we do have control over the way things go moving forward. No, we can't control all of the circumstances in our lives, but we can control the things that we think, the things that we believe, and the actions that we take. And that's what matters. That's what's going to make the next chapter the best chapter. And I also want you to know that if you're stuck in a limiting belief mindset, that this also creates something else. It makes you play small. And honestly, you know, the good news is that you can change that mindset. You can change the belief, because the belief is not the reality, right? So no matter what life stage you're at right now, it is entirely possible for your next chapter to be your best chapter, but you've got to start by challenging the limiting beliefs. So that's going to be step one. And if you're stuck in that mindset, it's about, number one, challenging the belief. Number two, tuning out the well-intentioned voices that are saying these things to you. And these might be people really close to you that you really love. It could be your mom. It could be your spouse. It could be your best friend. It could be people extremely close to you that are saying these things. But just remember, that is their perception. It does not have to be yours. And believing what they believe is not going to serve you well. So get back in touch with who you were as a teenager. Think back to when the world seemed like it had endless possibilities. Get into that place again where you're able to dream and discover and take actions. The cool thing about being older is that we have nothing to lose. You know, you want to step out and take an acting class, you want to sign up for a piano lesson, you want to go back to school, whatever you want to do, you're an adult and you get to make that decision now, right? So take the steps, take the actions. And I also want you to remember this, you don't have to feel it to do it. That is one of my favorite things to say, because you do not have to feel it to do it. This applies to everything in life. It applies to working out. It applies to getting up early. It applies to all the things that you may not feel like doing. Just do them, because oftentimes when you take the action, the belief follows. So take the action. Give yourself compassion. Forgive yourself, or anything you need to forgive yourself in the past, and move forward, because you're not serving anybody by staying stuck in a place and time that is no longer serving you. And if it all sounds like pie in the sky or like it's too much, then just take one small action today. And I want you to affirm yourself, or just stop the limiting belief. I'm sure several times, maybe as you've even been listening to this, you've had that little voice that wants to chatter in your head, that negative chatter. We all have it. You just got to shut it down, refocus it, stop paying attention to it. Don't feed the beast, right? And move on to the next thought. Affirm yourself that the next chapter can be the best chapter. So right now, I want you to put your hand on your chest, breathe in, breathe out. You feel that? As long as you have breath in your lungs, you deserve to have dreams in your heart, and it is never, ever too late for you. So take the step, get out of your comfort zone, and do what it takes for you to make the next chapter the best chapter. I'm going to leave you with this. So I follow Morgan Harper Nichols on Instagram, and she always has such amazing inspirational posts. If you're not following her, you need to follow her. And I read this one recently and it just really resonated with me. She said, "May you exchange comparison for the gratitude of knowing you have not missed out on what was meant for you. It is not too late for you. Even when it's hard to see, even when you struggle to make decisions because you're afraid to get it wrong again, even then there is a path beneath your feet, a winding road filled with questions and also endless possibility. Anything can happen." And I know that makes your heart skip a beat with excitement, but also with worry as you wonder what that could mean. But that's where peace comes in. A loving friend in the wild of things reminding you that you don't have to have it figured out before you keep traveling the journey. And there it is. Morgan Harper Nichols. You don't have to have it figured out before you keep traveling. Travel well, my friends.